So last class we finished up with opening an account in our ledger. Today we're going to talk about the posting process. And as I mentioned last class, posting is the process of taking the information that's in our journal. And what order is the information in our journal? Chronological. Perfect. Good. Taking the information that's in our journal in chronological order and posting it to our ledger where the balances are maintained for each account. When we're looking at a journal page, if we look down that journal page, can we see the balances for any of our accounts? No, we don't know. Like, I don't know that the cash account has a balance of X dollars, or the accounts receivable account has a balance of Y dollars. So I want to be able to find out my balances. That's important information. So we post the information from our journal to our ledger, and that's the process we're going to go over today. Posting is just simply the transferring of information from the journal to the ledger. It's taking the information that's here in our journal and then putting it into the ledger. So if you can see the top half of this, the top half here is our journal. The bottom half here is our ledger page. And you can see that we have the account title, you can see that we have the account number, and then you'll see in here that it corresponds, it has a date, it has what we call the post reference. The post reference is the page that this is coming from, okay? So it's coming from the general journal, page 1. And then we're taking the debit amount, that $500 amount, $5,000 amount, and we're placing it in the debit column. Then the important thing is bringing it over to the balance column, okay? So if we're in the cash account and we have a debit of $5,000, the debit's going to come over and bring the balance of the cash account up to $5,000, okay? Then we're going to, last step is going to bring this post reference back to the account number 110. You do this step last. Don't make the mistake of doing it and just writing them all in here. That's going to be a mistake because that's your way of knowing that you're done posting that part of the entry. Okay? If you accidentally, had to get called away from your desk or something in the middle of posting, you would know where to go back to because from that point forward, there would be no post reference in that column. Okay? So you post reference last. Okay? And this is like the post-referencing here of the account number back to the journal tells us where we posted it. So if we made a mistake and we accidentally posted this to a different account, we could very easily know where we posted it to because we would have that post-reference number there. Same thing here. If we did something wrong with this posting of this entry, we can know where we got this entry from because we would know that we got it on General Journal, page 1, on the date of August 1st. Okay, so that's all what we call valuable information and leaves us with what we call in accounting an audit trail. In accounting, you always want to leave yourself an audit trail. It tells you how to get back to where you came from. Okay, it's like if you go hiking. It's like leaving little, pieces of breadcrumbs in the trail so you could get back to it. Okay, get back to where you came from. So these are the steps of doing the posting. You're going to write the date, step 1. Step 2, you're going to write the journal page. Step 3, you're going to write the debit amount. Then you're going to carry the balance over. And then step 5 is going to be returning the account number back to the journal page. Every single transaction. Now we post the credit side of that transaction. Now we post that credit in the Kim Park Capital account, and we have the account in ledger open. Okay, Kim Park Capital account number 310. We do the same exact steps. Step 1, write the date. Step 2, write the journal page. Step 3, write the credit amount. Step 4, bring the balance over. Step 5, return that number back to the journal, 310. That's the whole process of posting. Now, if you already have a balance in that a balance in the account, so in this particular transaction, we're noticing that there's already a debit balance in this supplies account of $275. And we're posting that they just bought $500 more of supplies. Okay, this is how the balance piece works. So now we post the date, July, is it July? My bad, August 7th. We write the journal page 1. We write the debit amount in the transaction column here, $500. And now we bring this balance over into the balance column. So what we're doing now is if we have a debit balance and we're putting a debit in, we're adding it because the normal side balance for a supply, which is an asset, is that they're increasing on the debit side. So this balance, when you add another debit to it, is bringing the balance up to $775. So these columns here off to the right, you're not just putting this entry. This is the entry column. These two columns are the entry columns. These two columns are the balance columns. Okay? So now we've got the increase to $775, and then we do that last step, bring this back and do the post reference. Okay? So the balance column is an ongoing balance. Let's do the credit side of this transaction. So here, okay, we have accounts payable, supply depot. Did I skip one? No, okay. Accounts payable supply depot, we're posting a debit amount to an account with a credit balance, okay? This is where we're saying that we are reducing our accounts payable outstanding because we're paying down. We paid off the cash on that accounts payable outstanding, and so we're bringing the balance down in our accounts payable account. So we're posting it to our accounts payable account, okay, account number 210, and now that's August 11th. It's from General Journal, page 1. We're bringing the dollar amount of the debit down here into the debit column. Now, we all know that accounts payable, the normal balance on an accounts payable is the credit side. So if we have a debit, what can you expect is going to be happening to the credit normal side balance of that account? It's going to decrease. Right. So what we should see is that the balance in our accounts payable account went down by $200, which makes sense, right? Because when we know if we debit our accounts payable, it's reducing the amount that we owe accounts payable supply depot. If we're giving them cash of $300 on check number 3, then we know we owe them $300 less. So we better make sure we reduce our balance. Otherwise, we're going to be still owing, we think we still owe them money we don't owe them because we just paid them off. And then we do the last step, which is to bring the post reference back up into the journal. It tells us we're done with that half of the transaction. Journal pages went with posting completed. So this is what it will look like in your journal when you're done posting it. You should see all of the post references in here to the correct accounts. So like if you saw cash and you saw a post reference of like 510, you should know automatically something's wrong there. You should always see these in some logical representation of the type of account that it is. Okay, same here, that's the bottom. Okay, all right. And then on 4-3, okay, general ledger with posting completed, okay. So what you should end up seeing, if you look here, my cash account, look at my cash account. I had my debit here of $5,000, brings the debit balance over $5,000. But here, I had a credit to my cash, meaning I paid something in cash, brings my balance down. Again, on the 4th, I paid something in cash, brings my balance down. Again, on the 11th, paid something in cash, brings my balance down. Oh, then on the 12th, I had a debit to my cash. Either I sold something or whatever, and it brings my balance up. So that's what happens. These are the transactions. Oops. Okay. Oops. Come on. Come on. What's it doing? Sorry, folks. Okay. It's showing my increases and decreases, the transaction columns being here, and the ongoing balance columns being in the balance side. And the same thing for all of your accounts. Okay? Same thing. All of your accounts are going to be the same exact way. Your normal side, you should not see any of your balances for any of your accounts on other than the normal side. I will not do that to you. The last thing is you can prove your cash. In the real world, you would prove your cash to your checking account. Every month, and we'll learn about that in Chapter 5, we'll learn about doing a reconciliation. Every month, you should be able to go and prove your cash to the balance in your checking account. In this chapter, we're just going to give you a number, and if your number, when you've gone through the posting process, matches the amount that it says that the cash balance is, then your cash is proving, and you know you've done everything right, okay? Cash can be proved at any time, but at the very least, we're going to prove our cash at the end of every fiscal period, which is the month, the quarter, or the semi-annual period, okay? So what should end up happening is your cash balance, here in the balance column of your cash account, your cash balance should end up proving to the amount that you have in your checking account recorded, okay? And if that's the case, you've probably done most things correctly. If you discover any types of errors after you've posted, then you have to do what we call a correcting entry. And I'll go over correcting entries next class, okay? But a correcting entry corrects a journal entry that was made incorrectly, and I'll go through how you go about doing that next class, and you would record that on a memorandum. So that's going to be your source document for correcting entry. So let's say I posted something to my repairs account, and I should have reported it to my rent account. So two of those accounts are wrong, so I've got to correct both accounts. Okay, so we'll talk about that next class. Yes, Maddie?
Why don't you write anything under the item column in the line? Like, why is that blank?
Let me see where you're talking about. Why is this like just not going back? Oh, you don't need anything in here because all the entries in there are to the cash account. Yeah, you don't need anything in there. We'll talk about when that would be used in like Chapter E.
Okay.
But for the most part, you don't put anything in that items column. So guys, 4-2 for homework. 4-2 for homework.
Don't be.